Hi, I'm STARBORN. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at my website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Unaffordable Move. And that is because there is a very strong grand trine in the water signs. And so the Sun and Mercury are in Cancer, and Cancer rules residential real estate, and it does rule moving. And so the reason why there can be an affordable move coming up, perhaps in your life or in the life of someone close to you that you know, is because the three water signs are well accentuated. They all have planets in them. And so the energy from one sign is pouring unrestricted into the energy of the other, and that can really help you out. And that is because the Sun and Mercury today are in Cancer, and Cancer rules the fourth house of home and last half of life. It rules not only residential real estate, but it rules farming and ranching and mining, anything that comes out of the ground. And it rules restaurants. It rules the grocery business. And it rules the kind of restaurants that you can bring the whole family to, because the Cancer rules the home and the family, and it rules the endings or the last half of life. And generally, Cancers are much happier in the last half of their life than they are in the first half of their life. It takes them a little while to find true happiness, but they generally do end up finding that. Just takes a while. And Cancer also rules thrift, and it rules recycling. And so, you know, in America, which is ruled by Cancer, there is a lot of recycling. And Cancer also rules Canada, and it rules Ukraine. So Cancer rules manual labor. And so it rules the masses. It rules what's good for everybody. And so it rules Congress, because it's the sun sign of the United States. And it rules unions, because unions are made up of people that band together for the good of all. And so Cancer has a broad appeal to a lot of people. And this is a time, since it does rule home or residential real estate, this can be a time when you may be able to find a way to make an affordable move. It might be moving in with a roommate so you can share expenses. That's not a bad idea, since everything costs so much right now. It might also be that you are moving in a way that will develop your life further, or expand your life in a way that is really important to you. In a way, Cancer rules the base of your life. So everybody has their own way of setting up their home, and it can be very different for different reasons, but that's okay. It's okay for everybody. And that is because the Sun and Mercury in Cancer are beautifully trining Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. So another thing that could be related to an affordable move is that you may be able to make a very fond, quiet dream of yours come true. And it might involve a move, but whatever it involves, the possibility of it coming true are very good, because the Sun and Mercury in Cancer are trining Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. And Pisces rules dreams, and Saturn rules time. So it could be something that either is starting at a later date in your life, or it can be something that you have been wanting for a very long time, and perhaps now you're deciding, well, okay, I've got to do this, and I want to do this, so let's make this dream come true. The reason it can be affordable, though, is because there are actually 5 planets in the water signs, because the 2 planets in Cancer and the 2 planets in Pisces are all trining the sign of Scorpio, which is a fixed financial sign. And Scorpio rules credit, debt, taxes, loans, insurance, inheritance, and grants. In other words, money coming in and money coming out. So it rules money management, and that's why you could make an affordable move. There are a lot of different ways you could do that. And it could involve some sort of finally making a long-held dream come true. But as far as being affordable goes, remember, Cancer rules thrift. And so there is a possibility that you could afford a move simply because you might want to take some of the things that you're very familiar with and find a new way to use them, or recycle their use in some way. You wouldn't always have to go out and buy new things. You might just have some things at home that you could substitute or reuse in a new way that could make your move more affordable. Another thing is that because it rules thrift, it simply means that there are ways you could maybe make a little bit more money or save a little bit more money simply by maybe having a garage sale or a yard sale and getting some money that way from things that you don't want to take with you when you make a move. Or it's possible that if you have a lot of donations, say you haven't moved in a long time and you have a lot of things that you're no longer using, you may want to donate those to others that could get some more use out of them. And you may want to take those donations as an income tax deduction. So that's another way of you sort of making things more affordable for yourself. And all of that could work out really well. And so I know prices are high, and interest rates are high, and inflation is high. But if you did a little creative thinking, and Mercury is the planet of thought, and it's in Cancer along with the Sun, maybe you could come up with some way to make an affordable move. And on top of that, it might end up being an easier move than you think, because there is a grand trine in the water signs. Grand trines are very rare, but this year, this is the third one we've had, because in the spring we had a grand trine in the water signs under the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and then on Memorial Day we had a grand trine in the air signs, which was good for creative thinkers and good communication, and now we are having another grand trine in the water signs. And that's 5 planets in water signs that are all getting along beautifully. So I wish you the best of luck on that. However, there are still a few little things you really need to watch out for. And they haven't changed much from last week, but it is that there are still 5 planets that are in a harsh configuration among the fixed signs. Only they're in a little bit different configuration this week. It's the same 5 planets though. However, Venus and Mars in Leo are opposing Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, and Uranus and Mars are malefic planets. Oh no, they're squaring each other. And Mars is at 23 degrees of Leo today, and Venus is conjuncting it, but it's at 23 degrees of Leo, and so it is very harshly squaring Uranus in Taurus at 22 degrees of Taurus. I mean, this is just about an absolutely exact square of these 4 planets, but particularly of Mars and Uranus. And then on top of that, there's actually a harsh T-cross going on among the fixed signs because there's one more planet in a fixed sign. And so the 2 in Leo are opposing the 2 in Taurus, but all 4 of them are being squared by the moon today in Scorpio. Remember, that moon is part of the grand trine in the water signs. But the moon is squaring Mars and Venus in Leo, and the moon is squaring Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. Or it's opposing Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. So, the very same quarrels and confrontations about money or control or leadership are still going on, and they're unresolved. But at the same time, since Leo rules gambling and this harsh square between Mars and Uranus is so exact, it can simply be that gamblers or people who are cleverly disguised manipulators In other words, they've got an agenda, a secret agenda. They could even offer to be helpful, but they're really trying to get some sort of money out of you, or else they're just perpetuating a scam. It simply means that cyber warfare and cyber crime are really prevalent everywhere, and we all have to be very careful. So these people are actually, they're sort of moving up a notch in their criminal or heated discussions about money, because now these gamblers or manipulators are stealing against each other. They're stealing from each other. I mean, this is sort of like high crime, but they're doing it. And if they're stealing from each other, that's really going to leave something unresolved until somebody gets caught. And so this is a very good time for you to remember an age-old saying. And the age-old saying is, be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. And this might be a good time if you are sensing that you're having financial problems with somebody, that you really should sort of withdraw to your own place of security or your own home, or maybe possibly think about moving. And you would need to straighten out some things, but be aware that even the crooks are being super crooked. They're stealing from each other as well as from innocent people. And so you really have to be on a heightened alert as far as sneaky things being done by people who might appear to be respectable, particularly over the internet, but they are not. And so you need to stay away from that. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, Aries, there are still 2 planets in a fire sign, and that's that same Venus and Mars, your ruler, which are trining your sun. But your ruler and Venus are under severe duress. They're part of 5 planets in a harsh T-cross, and it involves planets in both financial signs. Okay, so Mars and Venus are squaring Uranus, which is a malefic planet, and Jupiter in Taurus, but they're also being squared by the moon in Scorpio. And so your ruler, Aries, Mars, is taking a beating. But on the other hand, it is being somewhat energized by other people who can be very challenging right now. Or you could be energized by a challenging situation. And you need to really watch where you walk or what you're doing or saying right now, and be real careful, Aries, because not everyone is really your friend. And that is because there are too many planets in this harsh T-square among 3 fixed signs. Last week, the same 5 planets were squaring each other, and they were only among 2 fixed signs. Now they're among 3 fixed signs, and that includes both financial signs. It's sort of a real strong indication that we all have to be much more careful with our money. And that's why, if anybody is looking to make an affordable move, the accent is on the word affordable. In other words, you don't have to live in a palace. You might be attracted to something that fits a little bit better in your budget. And that's what's important now. And so, Aries, you need to be a little bit careful and try to move a little bit slowly. Even if people are putting a lot of pressure on you to move fast, you should sort of think about things or get a second opinion or inquire from different sources and ask the same questions, but see if the answers match just before you take a step forward. Just be a little bit more careful right now, Aries. And that's because your own ruler is under severe duress. You still have Venus and Mars trining your sun, which means a lot of people can be really doing a lot of things even on your behalf. But you still want to be able to take it all in. And so you need to just go slowly, Aries, if you can. And good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. Well, Taurus, it is lucky that Pluto is in Capricorn now at the fateful 29th degree and is trining your sun where you have Jupiter and Uranus, because they are coming up against a lot of problems right now. And that's because the moon in Scorpio is opposing your sun and those two planets in your sign, and Venus and Mars are squaring the two planets in your sign as well. And so an affordable move, is that possible right now, Taurus? I would say it would depend on your career more than where you want to live. It's Pluto is at the 29th degree of Capricorn, and that 29th degree is the degree of fate. And so I think before you decide if a move is affordable or not, you are going to have to look at the long-term prospects for your career. And if they are looking okay, then sure, you could go forward with an affordable move. Remember, the accent is on affordable, Taurus. In other words, not high-priced, just affordable. Because, you know, things change in our lives. And there could be another addition to your family. There could be a change in your career, or maybe you want to broaden your career in some way, put a little bit more money into that instead of into a home. So you might want to find a more affordable home. You know, it may not be the home of your dreams, but it could certainly be something that would be fine for where you are in your career right now. And so you don't have to go to the top of the heap right now, Taurus. You really have to make sure that all the money you have and your career prospects are synchronized in a way that is very affordable. And if they are, and you have some savings still in the bank and things like that, then I think things can go forward. One of the main things that you have to, pressure that you have to look out for, Taurus, is high taxation. Scorpio rules taxes, and the moon is there now opposing your sun sign, where you have Uranus and Jupiter. So if you have made some good money lately, Taurus, unfortunately, I think you may have to part with a little more of that than you were counting on just to pay taxes. But that's the way it goes right now. Remember, issues regarding money, control, or leadership are unresolved because of the harshness of this T-cross of 5 planets in fixed signs. So you have to try to stabilize yourself. And so you don't need to aim high. I would sort of aim it for the middle, Taurus, and give yourself a little room or a little cushion in case unexpected expenses like higher taxation come up. You try to have a little bit extra put away because you might need it. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, it's very true this week that there are no planets in the air signs. But I messed up last week. It didn't change, I checked, it didn't change the predictions. It didn't change what I was saying. But Mercury was still in your sign last week, Gemini. I apologize for that. I was sort of getting a little ahead of myself working on this week's script as well. And now Mercury is in Cancer along with the Sun. But last week it was in your sign. But anyway, Gemini, since there are no planets in air signs right now, it means that you don't have to come up with a new idea. That's nice. Or if somebody is putting pressure on you, you know, to give them a bunch of answers, tell them to do their own homework. Because this might be a good time for you to sort of take a break. And to, you know, last week I said pause. Well, fine. You could still do that, Gemini. Because without any planets in air signs, this is a better time for us to really review what we're doing in our lives. And also, when we're talking about any kind of a move, even if one isn't coming up for you right now, Gemini, but you could be thinking about that in the future, It might be better if you look around your home right now, since the sun and your ruler, Mercury, are right ahead of your sun sign in Cancer, and they're part of a wonderful grand trine. You could look around your home right now and see if there are some things that you no longer really use and that you would not take on another move. And maybe you could have a garage sale or a yard sale, or donate them and have some sort of an income tax write-off for that if you had enough donations. And so I think that this might be a good time, very quietly and at your own pace, no rush, no pressure, but still you might look around and start thinking, just as you're looking around, about what you'd like to take with you if you moved and what you don't really need or want anymore. And this would be sort of a good time, a preliminary time, to clean house a little bit. Not just to have everything stay the same, but to actually try to decide, okay, do I want to take this with me in the future? Am I really going to use it? Or is it a little bit past? And decide about that. And that takes time. And you have the time because there's no planets in the air signs right now. So I think you can just work at your own leisurely pace, Gemini. But if you're thinking about a move in your future, this is sort of a good time to look around and start preparing mentally for that. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Oh, well, Cancer. The sun is in your sign, Cancer, along with Mercury. You could be full of good ideas, and they could possibly revolve around some sort of affordable move that you're thinking about making. Now remember, Cancer rules residential real estate. Well, what if you're saying to yourself, well, I don't want to move, but I want to remodel my home, or I want to change something, or I want to put on a new addition, or I want to add something to the property. Well, this is a great time to do that because Mercury is in your sign, and it can mean that you are starting to think about things like that. And this is a very good time to start arranging your plans and maybe getting price quotes, things like that. So you may not have to move, but that doesn't mean you wouldn't be thinking about making some sort of affordable change even within your home. And it might be that you want to expand because you are thinking of taking on another roommate or splitting the cost somehow. That's a good idea, Cancer. Your sign rules thrift, and so this is a time when all those things that you were going to save for someday when you thought you would need them, well, that day might have come, Cancer, and maybe you can make do with some of the things, extra things that you have around your home already. And you might realize you could possibly be much better prepared for an affordable move or a remodeling than you think you are. I mean, it would be affordable. The reason why is that your own ruler, the moon, is in Scorpio, and it is trining your sun. And Mercury and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are also trining your sun and Mercury. There's 5 wonderful planets. Strong ones in the water signs, and nothing beats a grand trine. So whatever you're deciding to do as far as a home goes, Cancer, whether you're expanding it or whether you're remodeling it or whether you're deciding to move into something that is affordable, that would be fine. Your sign rules manual labor, so you're very good with working with your hands. And there's probably quite a bit of work, even if it's needed in your home right now, that you could do yourself and really save a lot of money by just sort of working on it yourself, which would be nice. And you'd like that. Cancers enjoy puttering around their home. So you could spend the summer doing that and have a great time. But at the same time, if you needed additional financing, you are somewhat aspected to get it in one way or another, because the moon, your ruler, is in Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, and it's trining your sun. So this is really a very good, serious time for the whole next month for you to be thinking about making a long-held dream come true and doing something that is affordable in your home or moving to another place that is affordable. the aspects are so good among the water signs right now, Cancer, that you should not delay. Yeah, you should work in that direction. And it's also summertime, which is a little bit better and easier to get work done. So I hope you give it a thought, because you could be very successful at that, particularly in making a long-held dream come true. And the sun is at 7 degrees in your sign, and it is perfectly and exactly trine Saturn in Pisces, also at 7 degrees. That long-held dream has been around long enough, Cancer. You should do something with it while the stars are with you. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo. Well, Leo, remember, as long as you have Mars in your sign, Leo, there's going to be financial arguments somewhere. And they're heightened this week, because it's the same 5 planets as last week that are in harsh aspect to each other, but now they're among 3 fixed signs instead of just 2. And so that puts even more pressure on all of the fixed signs. And so Venus and Mars is at 23 degrees, Venus is at 19 degrees, and Mars is at 23 degrees in your sign, Leo. And it is being opposed by the moon in Scorpio, which means if you were looking for some extra financing, it's going to be a little beyond your reach, Leo. You may not get what you want. And the reason why has something to do with 2 obstacles. One of the obstacles is there just may not be enough money around, or that interest rates are too high, or inflation is too high, or the price of something is too high. So I mean, there's some practical reasons why you may not get what you want. But as far as financing goes, I would say that the people that are willing to lend are not as eager to do that, because they even have financial troubles of their own. Or the value of investments has dropped, and that means the collateral or the equity that financial institutions have is more threatened. And just like individuals can be more threatened if the value of their investments drop. And that could be happening to you, Leo, because Mars and Venus in your sign are being squared by Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. And as I said, Mars is at 23 degrees, Uranus is at 22 degrees. These 2 planets are really coming head to head. And so there is cyber warfare, and there is cyber crime, and there are gamblers and what you might call people who are manipulators, pretending to be something they're not in order to manipulate others. And they're stealing from each other now. So, you know, batten down the hatches, Leo. Somebody could be trying to steal from you. And you really have to check all your facts a number of times before you reveal any financial information to anybody. And that's because you may not be too sure who is pretending to be a worthy source, and whether they are or not. And you have to take a little extra time to check that out. And so do a lot of other people. I mean, this is going to happen to people that have credit card problems or mortgage problems or any kind of financial needs at all. There's what you call scammers. They're really out in force right now. And Leo, you could be affected by that. And I'm telling you, where would that hurt you? In the pocketbook. And so, you know, check everything a couple of times or 2 or 3 times before you believe anybody. And that would be if they want any kind of financial information out of you, or they want you to pay extra on something, you better go real slow on that, Leo, and be careful. And still, questions about money, control, and leadership are unresolved at this time. I think that can't go on forever. And Mars will move out of your sign. But right now, it's a little tense for you. And it's going to stay that way. And so you just financially, I'm not so sure that they're even if you found a way to make an affordable move, you better make sure of who you're dealing with first before you proceed. Check credentials over and over again. Okay, thank you, and good luck. What does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. Well, Virgo, you're in a position where you can somewhat benefit from the lights. And the reason why is that the moon is in Scorpio, and that sextiles your sun. And the sun and Mercury, your own ruler, are in Cancer, and they sextile your sun. So the sextiles represent opportunities. And so, Virgo, there is some opportunity around for you that may have something to do with your career, perhaps more money tied to your career, because Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun, and the planets in Taurus, which are under severe duress right now, are actually trining your sun. Jupiter and Uranus are trining your sun, and Pluto is, and the sun and the moon and Mercury are all sextiling your sun. Do you see what I mean, Virgo? It's a little bit the opposite way for you as it is for Leo. Leo sort of can't afford to make a move in any direction right now, but you could have the opportunity to make adjustments, and you could move your money a little bit, or you may come into more money. It might surprise you that there could be an investment that is worth more, and lucky you might even find a buyer for it if you needed to sell something. So Virgo, you're looking at opportunity, and it just depends on, Virgos are not, they don't have very risky attitudes about things. Virgos really believe that if it doesn't add up, there's something wrong. And they're always right about that. And so you just need to look over all of your figures again, Virgo. And, you know, even if you check them 2 or 3 times, if they're still adding up, it just does mean that there's some opportunity around for you, and possibly you should investigate that now. And if there is more money coming in, one of the things that you would, since your sign rules banking, and you would really want to look around for a place to put extra money if it comes your way, and make sure that it's safe and secure. And you could do that, Virgo. You're real careful about money because your sign rules accounting. So there is the possibility that there's going to be ways for you to move, or opportunities you can take advantage of right now that may give a little boost to your career, and may also help you with the value of your investments, which would be increasing at this time. And so if you were wanting to make an affordable move, Virgo, you probably could certainly afford it. And so you might think about that. The prices are softening, and that doesn't mean that the listed price has softened. But if I was anybody looking for anything right now in the real estate market, I would make a lower offer. You might be surprised how quickly somebody takes that, because they're in the same boat as everybody else with high interest rates and high inflation. And you don't know how much debt people are carrying. If somebody was carrying a lot of debt and you made them a lower offer than what they wanted, they may want to get out of it pretty badly and take your offer. So you could consider that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time, Libra, when once again I apologize, just like I did to Gemini, because last week I said there were no planets in the air signs. I was thinking more of this week because Mercury was in Gemini. It did not change your prediction for last week, Libra. But I just am sorry that I said there were no planets when at least there was one. It was Mercury in Gemini. And now this week, okay, I'm caught up. There are no planets in air signs this week at all. And that's because Mercury moved into Cancer, where the new moon is, and it is part of a beautiful grand trine in water signs. And so the Sun and Mercury are trining Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and they together are trining the sign of Scorpio, where the moon is, and that is right in front of your sign, Libra. And so you may be seriously contemplating some sort of affordable move. And it may be something actually that involves some sort of precious dream that you've had for a long time. Well, maybe not all the pieces of the puzzle fit together, or maybe there was, even according to your career or your schedule or something, maybe you just didn't have time to take advantage of an affordable move before now. But you could do it now, Libra. And it may not be the physical move right now, but you could begin to prepare for the physical move. And also with the moon right ahead of your sun sign, there is someone around that may be very willing to help you if you wanted to make an affordable move. In other words, Scorpio rules debt, credit, taxes, loans, inheritance, insurance, and grants. So see, there's a possibility almost staring you in the face, Libra, because that moon is in Scorpio right ahead of your sign, that there could be some extra money that you can get your hands on in order to make an affordable move. Or if you don't want to move, but you do want to change something in your home, there could be some money around to do that. And so that's good for you, even though there aren't any planets in the air signs. I think you're going to benefit a little bit more from the planets that are in the water signs right now. Particularly working with another woman, or working with people who do know how to handle finances. They may be able to give you some very good advice. So I hope you listen to that. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Scorpio. This is a time, Scorpio, when you certainly benefit from the fact that there is a grand trine in the water signs. And the moon, that gentle, calm, passive moon, is in your sign, and it is being trined beautifully by the sun and Mercury in Cancer, and by Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. And so this is a trine of the lights. And then Neptune is very strong because it's at home in the sign it rules. So a dream that you've had for a very long time, I think is about to come true, Scorpio. And I can tell you that the reason why it has been a long time coming is due to hesitation and doubt about whether it ever could come true. In other words, when people are looking at their heart's desire, or something they really want, or that they've really been dreaming about, you know, what's the first human reaction? They can always think of why it couldn't happen. They can always come up with a bunch of different reasons why, oh, this couldn't be this, or there's going to be that problem there, or whatever. And, you know, over time, you know, reason prevails. And a lot of things that we are a little afraid about, or scared of, or feel insecure about, the more you look at them, and the more you examine them, the more you realize you can get over that, because that's not a big deal. And it takes a little while for people to realize, oh, I still want that dream, and now it's not a big deal. The things that I worried about before, I don't need to worry about those anymore. And so this is a very good time for a lot of people to be in that position, including you, Scorpio. And why? Because the sun is at 7 degrees of Cancer, and it is precisely trine Saturn at 7 degrees of Pisces. And 7 is the number of Pisces, so it's really strong there. But what I mean is there's such an exact trine between Sun and Saturn that an old dream, despite previous doubts or reasons why it couldn't happen, you know, those are gone now. And mysteriously, because 7 rules mystery, mysteriously, everybody can see, oh, yeah, this could happen. This is fine. You know, where did all those doubts go? Well, they evaporated. And now you're looking at something that that your heart has desired for a long time, Scorpio. And I think it's going to happen. Now, how does that relate to an affordable move? Well, it could be about an affordable move. It could be that either you're wanting to stay in a place that you're in, but modify it, remodel it, change it, add something, take down something, who knows. So you may have been thinking about that for a long time and putting it off, but now's an awfully good time to do that, Scorpio. The stars are with you. And it can be that maybe you were a little afraid of the dream coming true. Because when you dream, oh, everything's perfect in the dream. But actually, in real life, none of us is perfect. And so there has to be a little bit of you have to sort of condense that dream down to a little bit more of reality, which you can be very willing to do right now. And the money will be there. It may involve sharing costs with someone else. It could be that you're making room for someone to move into your home. Or it could be that you and someone else are going to move to a new home. Whatever it is, the move will be affordable for everybody. And this is the time to do it. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that you're giving up anything. You might just be wanting to change it or to accommodate your own home for someone else to be there as well. And this is a very good time for people to move. It's a trine of the lights. So, and Cancer's ruler, the moon, is in your sign, Scorpio. I think you've got your mind on that a lot. And the Scorpio rules secrecy and strategy and psychology. And so you might want to be a little quiet about any change that you have finally decided, okay, I think this dream's going to come true. Let's do it. And you might just want to be quiet about that for a while. You don't need to tell everybody your dream is coming true. Might want to tell whoever else is involved and get together with them. But you don't have to broadcast that to the world. You can take your time. And that's okay. So this is a very fortunate, and it is the second grand trine in water signs this year. And so remember, nothing beats a grand trine. So the timing is excellent, Scorpio, to go ahead on a cherished private dream of yours. And no matter what it takes, it'll be affordable. It'll be okay. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. This is a time, Sagittarius, when once again, you've got to be a little bit careful of who's coming at you, Sagittarius. And the reason why is that even gamblers and phony manipulators or imposters are stealing from each other right now. And so these 5 planets that are in a harsh T-cross among fixed signs, and that includes both financial fixed signs now, which it hasn't included both of them before, but now it does, simply means that people can be stealing from each other, and of course they can be stealing from you or anybody else. And this is why we all have to be on our guard financially and really cautious. And so Mars and Venus in Leo are trining your sun, Sagittarius. And so that can give you a sort of a boost. It can energize you. But, you know, it isn't energy that's going to win anything right now. It's caution. I mean, if we're going to get by the imposters, and if we're not going to be the victims of cyber warfare or cyber crime, then it's going to be because we're cautious now and careful. And, you know, it pays to look things over, Sagittarius. It pays to examine the fine print. Read the fine print. And everybody should be very careful about what they're signing these days. And if anything, people should be getting a second opinion on things. Even if it costs you something to get a second opinion before you sign something, it would be worth your while to do that, just in case there were any hang-ups or anything that was left out that you didn't realize would be expensive. And so getting a second opinion when there are so many crooks around is a good idea, Sagittarius. And that is why you should guard your valuables, particularly since your sign rules travel. And this is summer. If you're deciding to travel, you really need to guard your valuables quite a bit. And do that at home. Even if you are traveling, make sure everything is guarded at home. And then as you travel, you've got to make sure that you're protecting all of your financial assets as well. Because these crooks are real smart. And that's why we need caution. The thing that's going to win is caution, not speed. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, since Pluto is now back in your sign at the 29th degree of fate, that you can be deciding very seriously, maybe not deciding, but thinking very seriously about a career choice or about some sort of long-term financial plan, such as a pension plan or an investment plan of yours. And you could be asking yourself, well, how is all of this working in a high debt, high inflation, high interest rate environment? And you would want to look things over real carefully. And you wouldn't need to look over what you're doing, Capricorn. Capricorns are very thorough. They know what they're doing. And they're somewhat detail-oriented, just the way Virgos are. But the thing is that if you are dealing with anyone in a financial transaction, you have got to really be careful that whatever you're reading or whatever you're talking about is the truth. That's the thing, is that there's so many crooks around, you know. How do you know if somebody's telling you the truth these days? And so you need to check everything, Capricorn. However, it is looking, since Jupiter and Uranus are trining your sun, which is a good, healthy aspect, it is looking pretty good as far as your health goes, and also your investments can be slowly improving, or they can be solid, but I would advise you to really check everything right now, because there are just too many crooks around. This isn't really a very good time to be buying a lot, because you wouldn't necessarily know whether what you're buying is worth it or not. You could think it was. But this is a time when everybody's got to check things right now, including you, Capricorn, and you're good at that. And Capricorn rules antiques. And so Capricorns have a wonderful way of walking into something like a thrift shop and spotting something that is absolutely beautiful that other people would overlook. But even if it was selling at a low price, the Capricorn would buy it and realize that it had much greater value. I mean, they can spot things that have a lot of value, particularly something older over time. So they have a good eye for antiques. So that's a possibility even for investment right now, Capricorn. But I think you're just safer if you try to verify whatever someone else is telling you before you believe it. And if somebody is telling you something and they want your signature or they want your financial information, then you should ask them to put whatever they want in writing first. Because how do you know that they're on the level? And if they aren't, then you might want to sue them. And so you're going to need something in writing to do that. So think ahead a little bit, Capricorn, and be very careful if you can. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. This is a time, Aquarius, when you can be surrounded on all sides by some threatening financial situation. Or it can be a question of power, or leadership, or control, that someone can be challenging you about. And why is that? Because there are 5 planets in a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign. And all 5 are in harsh aspect to your sun, Aquarius, and there are no planets in the air signs this week. I apologize when I told you that last week, because Mercury hadn't quite moved into Cancer yet, but it has now. And that didn't change your prediction for last week. I checked on that. But still, This week, you have got the moon in Scorpio squaring your sun. You've got Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus squaring your sun, and Uranus is your own ruler, but it's in a challenging aspect to your sun sign, which it has been for the last 5 years. And Mars and Venus in Leo are opposing your sun sign. So Aquarius, it just looks like whichever way you want to move, you're going to get blocked. Okay, and blocked by situations that are beyond your control. And it might even be blocked by people that are really sort of bad customers. People you wouldn't want to know anyway. So that could be a blessing as long as you are careful and you check things out. Don't fall for blue sky this week, Aquarius. Somebody could be telling you a whopper. They could be just such a successful imposter or manipulator that they could be looking right at you and lying through their teeth. And how would you know that? So if somebody wants to put something in writing, okay, that gives you a chance to at least read something, but that's not going to be good enough for you, Aquarius. Because remember, there's no support in the air signs at all. You're going to have to take that to a second party who looks over whatever is written before you sign anything. And getting a second opinion is going to be well worth your while. It may save you from some fraudulent activity that is being proposed to you, but you may not see all the loopholes in it unless you ask somebody else to look at that as well. So caution. That's what it's all about this week, but particularly for you, Aquarius. I mean, Aquarius, if you could possibly look but not agree to anything this week, that would be fine. Okay, you can look around. Maybe you want to make an affordable move. Well, you'd have to go out and look at things, wouldn't you? That's fine. But be real careful about any financial information you give away, and do not make any commitment this week. Because these 5 planets are all challenging your sun sign. And there's no backup in the air signs. Okay, somebody could get you in a corner, Aquarius, and think, I've got a victim now. And they would be right. And if you don't want that to happen, you've got to add an extra suit of armor, or else just decide, well, you might want to look at something, but you don't buy anything this week, Aquarius. Don't fall for any blue sky this week, because that's all it's going to be. And remember, cyber warfare or cyber crime is rampant right now. So be very, very careful if you can. And, you know, be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. Well, that might be the safest place for you to be, Aquarius, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Pisces. Well, Pisces, this is a time, since yours is a water sign and it rules dreams, and it rules things that are going on behind the scenes. So you may have had your doubts about a dream. You may have had a dream for a very long time and kept dreaming it, but you could have been saying to yourself, oh, but that'll never really happen to me. Well, how do you know, Pisces? This is a grand trine in water signs this week. It's the second one of the year. And if ever one of your dreams is going to come true, Pisces, you're pretty close to it. You're closer than you think. And you could have more than one dream. Yours is a double-bodied sign, so you could have maybe 2 dreams. But there should be one that you've had for quite a long time that's very important to you. And you are much closer to having that come true than you realize. I would say it's a go, Pisces. Because it's, first of all, it could be affordable. The moon in Scorpio is trining Saturn and Neptune, your own ruler, in your sign. So it doesn't mean that you're going to win the lottery. I mean, maybe you will, but it doesn't mean that pennies are going to fall from heaven into your lap. But it does mean there can be some way to finance something like an affordable move if you wanted to make one. And it could also be that there is something that just involves real estate. Even if it was in your own home and you wanted to remodel your home or downsize or enlarge or whatever you want to do, that there would be some financial backing for that from someone, which is very good. or there will be help with that. And then the Sun and Mercury in Cancer are trining your Sun. And the Sun is trining Saturn exactly. They're both at 7 degrees, which is the number that rules your sign, Pisces. So there really is something that has been in your secret heart for a long time, that it could involve sort of like a mystery. It could involve a dream that you never thought could possibly come true due to other circumstances. And you're beginning to realize that yes, it really can come true. Perhaps there have been some obstacles that have been removed, and that's making the dream more possible. Or it can simply be that you are older and wiser now, and you know a lot more about what will make you happy. And so it's sort of looking like it's coming right at you, Pisces. I mean, the Sun is exactly trine Saturn, and trine your ruler, Neptune, and so is the Moon in Scorpio. You have a trine of the lights and your own ruler in your sign. So if ever a precious dream was going to come true, it's looking right at you, Pisces, and it can happen. Or you could run away from it. Why would you do that? You've already been through a lot of doubt. And somehow those doubts, they don't matter anymore. I mean, you know, even when you're dreaming, sooner or later people wake up and they do look at reality. And when you look at reality, that maybe you could be laughing at yourself for having doubts that just don't matter. They not only don't matter to you anymore, they don't matter to anybody. So, you know, way the joke's on you. Maybe the dream could have come true before. But everybody has their doubts. Only now, I think you've worked through all that, Pisces. And there is some sort of affordable move coming up for you. It may not be that you move right now, or you move out of your home. It can be that there's somebody coming into your home. That could happen. But whatever it is, it's going to please you very much. And why would that be? Because it has had, your dream has had time to mature. It's had time to work out the doubts. You've had time for that. So there aren't any more doubts. And on top of that, it seems almost as if it's a little blessing from heaven, because the lights, the Sun and the Moon, are trining your Sun and your ruler. And I think what that means is it's meant to be. And it's going to make you very happy in a very simple way that is so satisfying. You'll actually wonder why you waited so long. But it's headed your way, Pisces. Congratulations. Maybe you will value it more because you've waited so long for it. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel, and if you want to subscribe to it and tell your friends about that, I'd really love that. And also you can read the blog on my website, starborninstitute.org, and that explains the theme of the show every week. But next week, I'm going to be doing a show that is a salute to America and the 4th of July, and it's called The American Way. It is a little movie that sort of is like a happy birthday to America, and I made it many, many years ago, and I just want to warn you, I was a brunette then. But, you know, people can change. Now I'm a blonde. But that brunette in The American Way next week, I always like to show that near 4th of July so that we can all celebrate our nation's birthday. We're a big family here, and that's what America stands for. It stands for the open arms and to welcome everyone. So that's what we do. So have a nice 4th of July, and Until then, I'll see you. Bye-bye.